everybody. This is Laura, City Scrapper. Thank you so much for joining me on my channel today. Today I have a layout that I made for my friend Janet Fritz's 2,000 subscriber hop. I'm so happy for Janet. What an incredible milestone. And she's just an incredible scrapbooker and a wonderful person. And again, I'm very, very happy for her. For this hop, we could choose to either scrap lift Janet, or we could pick 5 items from a list of supplies and techniques that Janet likes to use on her layouts. So I decided to pick 5 items from Janet's list to use on my layout. And in addition, I wanted to use Janet's sketch that she made for 30 Days of Sketches. She created a beautiful sketch, and unfortunately, I wasn't able to participate in a lot of days of 30 Days of Sketches this month, so I thought this would be the perfect opportunity to create a layout using the sketch from day 16. And I meant to say last month because although Christie's Beautiful Life 30 Days with Sketches concluded last month, I'm still working on creating layouts for a lot of those sketches. And I really liked this sketch that Janet created, so I decided that I wanted to make a striped background as she has in her sketch. I've been making a lot of layouts with strips of paper in the background, and I am trying to get away from that just a little bit, just because I want to try different things. So I was looking through my stash and I found this collection. This is the Snow and Cocoa collection by Cray Paper that was incredibly popular a couple of years ago, I think. And I actually only had 4 sheets of pattern paper for this collection, but I had washi tape and I had chipboard. So I mainly use those 2 items on this layout. So for the background, I thought it would be a nice idea to put strips of the washi tape, and I thought that it would be kind of a quick background to create, but I really struggled with the washi tape. It just kept ripping. It was very hard for me to get a long piece of it. So I cut most of that out so that you wouldn't be tortured with me tearing so many pieces of the washi tape. But in the end, I was able to get enough strips to cover that piece of background paper that I made. And you saw that I drew diagonal lines on this piece of white cardstock. And the reason I did that was just to guide me with getting the angles right on putting down those strips of washi tape. I erased the lines just so I could just barely see them because washi tape is pretty transparent and I was afraid you'd be able to see the pencil lines. And then I put down the washi tape and I'm now tracing this heart that I cut out on my Silhouette Cameo. And I'm using a sheet of paper that I had in my stash. It's a Pebbles sheet of paper from a collection called Home for Christmas. You can see that the heart that I cut out is a little wonky. The Silhouette Cameo that I have, it really needs to be replaced, I think. I am having a lot of trouble cutting out shapes with it, but I cut out a few and then I decided that this one was pretty good. I don't think in the end that you can notice how on the bottom one side is much thicker than the other once the whole layout is complete. I'm putting some ATG adhesive on the die cut and I'm going to attach that pattern paper down. I thought that the black and white writing would be a nice contrast with those pastel colors in the Snow and Cocoa collection. I had planned where the heart would go on the background, but then I changed my mind and decided to move it a little bit to the left. So now I'm replacing a half strip of washi tape with a full strip. I found that as I used these rolls of washi tape, they got a little bit easier to unroll without ripping. So I am attaching the heart down now, slightly to the right, slightly overhanging the right side of the page as Janet has in her sketch. Now Janet has 2 small photos in her sketch. I really rarely use small photos, but they were the perfect size to replace with a 4x6 inch photo. So I mounted the photo on some white cardstock and then on some black cardstock. And I was thinking that it would be a nice touch to add some stitching around the heart. Stitching is really time consuming, of course, but it's not a lot of stitching, and I think that the texture that it adds to the background really helps. And then I was thinking I better use some tape and tape down those ends of washi tape. I wanted to make sure that they stayed in place. A few were looking like they might not. So I use Scotch tape quite a bit for holding things down on the back of my layouts. I give the photo a little bit of dimension. I'm using some fun foam or craft foam, and if you're not familiar with that, you can get that in the kids section of any craft store. The 5 things that I chose from Janet's list are pattern paper. I also am including a cut file. I do some layering. I use enamel dots and a tiny bit of stamping. Now that I have all of the major elements down on the paper, I'm going to start adding embellishments. You could see the paper here, that's one of 2 different patterns that I have from this collection, and it's not even official crate paper. It's that paper you can get from Joann where it all just says American Crafts on it and it's very thin. The only things that I could find from the collection were the chipboard and the washi tape. So when I saw these papers, I grabbed a couple of them because I knew that they matched, but I never ended up finding anything else from the collection. But I'm able to create this layout using just the chipboard, the little bit of paper I had, and the washi tape. So I guess it all worked out. Well, going along with Janet's sketch, I'm going to put my title in the upper right-hand corner of the heart. I use a chipboard frame and I put some of the pattern paper behind that, and that's going to kind of hold my title. For the title, I'm using a tag that I purchased from Michael's when they had a Christmas clearance. I thought that these would look kind of nice as titles on pages, and the color just happened to go really well with this layout. So I decided to go with this not very unique, but very appropriate Merry Christmas tag. I found a small scrap of lined paper and I'm going to use that for my journaling. I'm also going to put a frame from the chipboard sheet around the journaling. And I'm using my date stamp because of course I want to have some stamping on my page. So I stamp the date at the bottom. I do the journaling off camera using a black magic marker in a little while. I attach the frame around the journaling card. I wasn't sure if I should journal first and then attach the frame, but it worked out just fine writing inside of the frame. And then I add some cardstock to the back of the journaling because I wanted to make sure that it was nice and sturdy. I'm going to pop it up on some foam. I've noticed that in some of my albums, when I didn't reinforce some of the things that I popped up on foam with some cardstock, they are getting a little squished by the page protectors. So lately I've been very careful to reinforce anything that I'm popping up with some thick or heavyweight cardstock behind it. I use another chipboard frame behind the photo. I just cut it into smaller pieces and I put a piece on the top and a piece on the bottom just to bring a little color near the photo. I also add some photo corners. I made those photo corners using a very small frame. Oh, I forgot. I also had some very small frames. You could see those off to the left. I forgot about those. So that was another embellishment that I had, and they were so tiny. I thought that they would be better for using in other ways on a layout than for framing pictures. The frame also had that sentiment that says Happy Holidays on it, so I cut that out and I place it underneath the title for now, but I'm going to move it around. So just like I put some pattern paper behind the frame that has the title on it, I do the same thing for those small pieces of frame that are below and above the photo. Now the fun part, I start adding the embellishments. And as I said, these are all chipboard embellishments. Snow and Cocoa isn't a Christmas collection. It's more of a winter collection, but there are a few little Christmassy touches mixed in. For example, there's the car with the tree on top of it. That's at the bottom of the layout. So I thought that that would be a good choice since this is, of course, a Christmas layout. There's no right or wrong way to choose embellishments for the page. Sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes what I like to do is look to see if there are multiples of any type of embellishment and try to stick to a couple of different types of embellishments and not have like one of all the different ones on the page. So for example, for this chipboard collection, there were a lot of snowflakes, there were a lot of birds, there were a lot of Christmas trees, or trees, I should say. Not all of them were Christmas trees. And I initially was thinking I wanted to put the trees on there, but then I thought that would be too many different images. And so I decided that I was going to stick with the snowflakes and the birds mainly because I also add some other things in there too. But that's just what I was thinking on this layout. I really like the addition of those yellow stars, so that's yet another embellishment that I'm adding, but I thought that they matched in well with the snowflakes and with those clusters. One of the things on Janet's list was layering, so I wanted to make sure that I did a lot of layering on this layout. So I'm of course layering some of the items near the photo, but I also wanted to layer the chipboard on top of each other. I liked the way it looked when the snowflakes overlapped each other, and so you'll see that there are quite a few times when I'm laying one piece of chipboard on top of another. And I remember several years ago when Snow and Cocoa was available in Tuesday mornings. I remember watching the haul videos. There were people who found so many papers and embellishments from the collection. The Tuesday mornings in my area don't seem to be as big or have as many items as in other parts of the country, but I did get a lot of really great things from Tuesday morning. They had so many great products and things I never would have thought to order online. I really miss Tuesday morning having the scrapbooking supplies that they used to have. I really enjoyed shopping there. It's so nice to see things in person. I'm buying so much more online than I used to, but there is a thrill in going into the store and seeing the products that you're about to buy. I'm using ATG adhesive and I'm attaching all of these elements down. Of course, the chipboard stickers don't stick so well, so the ATG is helpful. And then on some of them, I went back in with some gel glue and I attached them down if they look like the ATG adhesive wasn't enough. There was a chipboard sentiment that said hello snow, so I cut off the word snow and then I clustered the word hello and happy holidays together on the left hand side of the layout, and I inked the edges of the word hello because the cut that I made wasn't super straight, and I think that that masked it a little bit and made it look a little straighter. One of the other items from Janet's list was enamel dots. And I started off with these, I guess they're more jewels than enamel dots. They're iridescent, so I think that they're perfect for snowflakes, and then especially on this layout because there's a lot of pink and they have a pinkish cast to them. I was thinking that I might want to put a black border around the background, but I really didn't want to cut into that washi tape. I was afraid of doing that. So instead, I decided to use a white scallop rather than a black scallop. So I cut out 4 thin strips of this scalloped border, and I put one on the left-hand side, and then I'm piecing together the scallop on the right-hand side and tucking it underneath the heart cut file, which is now sewn down, so I have to be very careful in my cutting that I cut it at the right angle so that it will fit underneath. And then once I have this trimmed off, I go back with some strips that I cut at 45-degree angles in the corners, and then that creates a little bit of a frame. I do go back in with some enamel dots and place those on each of the corners because of the scallop, they didn't fit together perfectly, so I thought that that would help give it a finishing look. So now I'm adding the enamel dots. I add some super, super tiny ones to 2 of the photo corners, the ones that are visible. I put another one of those iridescent jewels on the snowflake that's on the journaling, and now this is where I'm adding the white enamel dots. They help cover up the imperfections in those corners pretty well. Then I add some enamel dots to the snowflakes and the stars that I haven't already added some jewels to. You definitely want to check out Janet Fritz's channel, Galaxy Girl Creations. I'm not surprised at all that she has 2,000 subscribers. She has an amazing channel. She's also a wonderful person. She is always working hard to bring scrapbookers together and to expand the scrapbooking community. And she does so much for YouTubers, and I'm really, really happy to call her my friend. She's also a very versatile scrapbooker, so she has lots of different styles of layouts, so check out her channel. And also check out all the other videos from all the other scrapbookers who are celebrating along with Janet. All of the links will be in the description box. Thank you very much for watching this video, everybody. I appreciate all of you. Thank you for sticking to the end, and I hope that you have a fantastic day, and I will see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.